Okay, I'm going to do a slightly different type of video now. I'm about to leave for the European Open in Amsterdam. I need to now book an Uber and get my flight. So I'm just going to pack up my laptop, keyboard, mouse, some other electricals, and then we'll make a move.
Green light, let's get it. 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 Green light.
Arrived at the airport and we've just picked up the car. We've got Benny and Ha. Yeah, I was supposed to be driving, but because Benny normally drives on this side of the road, we're going to keep it that way. Alright, it's me from the future. I'm going to narrate some of this video, so the timeline may be back and forth, but I'll show you some of the Excel cases and so on. This was just us arriving at the arena. I loved the branding and all the posters everywhere of all the players on. There was PCs everywhere. It was set up really awesome. You can see here all the PCs, and then the first round was Mega Elimination. Alright, I'm all set up. I'm going to be on stage for the first one, which is Mega Elimination. So here's my view. Should be fun. Let's go. Okay, let's add a bit of context to the Mega Elimination. So the way it worked is every 30 seconds or something, the person with the lowest points would go out. There were 7 individual levels, and the bonuses were all the same. It was just get all the answers to the bonus and then concatenate the code of all of the answers, essentially. So if you get a full solve on a level, it means you get the bonus, which is worth 50 points. So you basically want to full solve each level. Unlike a usual case, you'll do a formula that will solve all of question 1. Here, you need an individual formula. There's like a unique question everywhere. So it's 140 unique formulas and questions. It can be tricky. The first one was on some theme park reviews data. The next one was on some other data about cases. Those were nice and easy. I made a big mistake here, and I tried to do level 3 without looking at the difficulty here, that it was hard. And level 3 was this Fun City map, which is a notoriously difficult case, and this was no exception. So I got down to like question 56 or so here, realised that I'm not going to be able to get this all in time, and I'll miss the bonus, so I jumped to level 4. Had I jumped to level 4 earlier, this would have been a lot easier, and I'd have got the bonus and the extra 50 points. So yeah, just to show you what they were, level 4 was all about some sales data, level 5 was about some cards, level 6 was about an error sheet, doing some stuff with that, and then level 7 was on some space missions. So if you look at the difficulty, they're all kind of medium or easy, other than the Fun City one, which is hard. I didn't even look at the difficulty. That was a big mistake. I should have done question 1, 2, 4 and onwards, and I may have come top 5 or something. Anyway, let's jump back to the live event. We just finished Mega Elimination. We're now going to do Teams event, Team UK.
10, 12 and 14.
10, 12 and 14. Is that where we came? It's free. Yeah, wow, okay. We all came pretty close. It's quite a good result for me. Anyway, let's see how this goes. Okay, we just finished Teams. We came 3rd, which was pretty good. And we had a lot of overlap, like I think a lot of us did the same question twice over, so it was basically 6 questions, and then the last one you try and combine everything you did. So yeah, that means we qualified for the team's final, which is good. So next up is the individual qualification. Okay, some quick context on the teams event. So we had this giant grid of numbers, and level 1 and 2 were linked. That was all about shifting rows, so you shift the first row 1, the next one 2, and so on. So the numbers on the right would come to the left, and everything would shift along by the number of the row. You then had to pick out areas of the grid and sum them up. So that was kind of level 1 and 2. Level 3 and 4 was all about rotations. So I did that pretty quick, 5-10 minutes. 5 and 6 were about mirroring or flipping certain areas of this array. We did that fine. And then level 7 was trying to bring it all together and do kind of all of these types of manipulations sequentially. So we came 3rd, it's a good result, and we made it to the team final. Then I'll jump ahead to after that. The next round was the only one I really cared about on the day, the qualification round for the semi-finals, and you only need to come top 40, but somehow I went out. It was basically a very strange case. So you had a pattern here, and you weren't given the question from level 2 onwards, you had to kind of guess it. They told you at 10 minutes into the case, but the logic was how many gaps are in these symbols. So D here has 1 hole in it. If you look at all of the symbols in level 2 and 3 onwards, let's just do it here. Let's import my lambdas. There were different values for capitals versus lowercase. That was the first issue. A lot of these formulas, like unique, gets rid of one or the other. And my second big issue was you had to, count the holes. So for something like this, you would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 holes. But that is in fact wrong, because my font is Calibri, whereas this case font is Roboto. So if I change that to Roboto, you'll see there's actually 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 areas in this. So the font actually changes the number. And me being very stubborn, I refused to move on from question 2 got bogged down on it and couldn't do it because of these issues, and I got knocked out. In hindsight, I should have moved to question 4. The logic here was just how many letters are in the number if you spell it out, and there's very easy ways to do this. You can say bar text of these, that puts them in Thai, and then you can translate them back to English. And this is, some tips I know quite easily, and then you get, as you can see, the kind of text numbers out. You can then count the characters after I remove the bar words, so that would have been really easy. If I'd have jumped to level 4, which is what other people did, I could have got a load of points, but I thought like level 2 should be easy, let's not move on. And just to show you some of these symbols, they get kind of ridiculous. So, 16 there, stuff like this, you have to count the gaps, and then they add even more of these symbols in level 7, which I didn't get to. But yeah, it was a very disappointing round for me, but lots of learnings, so I'll do a solve of this next probably on my channel, because there's some really interesting things you can do to look up exact characters and distinguish between upper and lower case. Okay, let's go back to the Netherlands. Okay, day 1 is done. I'm just back at the venue. We've got a really nice venue with loads of horses and nature that we're staying at, so that's good. Day 1 went well at the start of the day. Teams was awesome. It was basically array manipulations. You had a big grid of numbers. You had to take a section of those numbers and do something to it, like rotate it. Solo qualifier didn't do so well. The case was like a new format where they didn't tell you what the questions were, and you had to basically try and guess what the question was. And it ended up being that you had to count the holes inside letters. So like capital B would have 2 holes, and then there was a load of symbols that had various amounts of holes. And obviously you can't do that in Excel, so it's just a manual exercise. One of the issues was you had to like look up the value of these letters, and because you have lower and uppercase, an XLOOKUP won't work, so you need some kind of exact lookup, which I just crumbled on a bit, panicked, and then just didn't do well at all. So that means I didn't qualify for the semi-finals again, which is really annoying. So hopefully in Vegas at the end of the year I can. But yeah, on to day 2 now. So we have the team final, which is a relay event, so I'll be on for 10 minutes, then a teammate, then another teammate. We'll watch semi-finals, and then tonight we'll relax and fly home tomorrow. Okay, so this is day 2. When we entered the arena in the morning, it was quite strange because all of the PCs had gone from the floor. It was absolutely full the day before. They were all packed away, and it was only the stage ready for semi-finals and finals this day. So the only thing I competed in was the team finals, which was a relay. So I did 10 minutes, and then Jackson came on and did 10 minutes, and then Ha came on and did 10 minutes.
Hayden Weissman, hot dang, they represent Lambda, Hope, and Glory.
Look at them go. They're all very focused. And we have the first team scoring points.
25.
Lambda, Hope, and Glory.
Yep, 25 points. How did they get those points? All right. Let's see.
We see them on the screen now.
Yep, Land of Hope and Glory. Okay.
They're starting with a bonus.
Unpivot happening. That's a relatively new function that helps you flatten a matrix like this. How are they going to do this? All right, talking, pointing. And they have to be, the player 1 has to be off at 19. Okay, all right.
Then it's
Okay,
go.
okay, good.
Let me show you some context now of the case. So it was all about ice hockey, actually a reasonably easy case. The hard bit was swapping over and taking over someone else's workings. So I was kind of lucky I went first. I did these bonuses and was first to get points on the board. I essentially had this, we had this grid of kind of teams and players. So I did an unpivot. So I kept these, unpivoted these columns. So if I just show you what that looks like, it kind of gives me a nice flattened grid, and then I could look into this table to determine what team it was. And then the whole case was about like tracking goals. So I essentially set up a data table, and I text split this on -- it was something like this to get team 1 and team 2, like so. And then I said text split this on a hash, and the same for team 2. So that was kind of what it looked like. I had team 1, team 2, then I split this again on, so this is player 7 scored a goal at minute 13 and 34 seconds. So I split this down into its component parts, and then the questions were things like who scored the first goal. So you just need to sort this by time. So who scored the first goal is where I got out. So I left the stage in joint second. Then when Jackson came on, he had to figure out who scored the last goal. We dropped to 5th there, which was unfortunate, but is what it is. And when Ha came on, unfortunately, he couldn't pick up our workings. Maybe our setup wasn't very nice. I think he had the wrong format on this. It was like the team's goal, so it was 1-5. I think he had it in a slightly different format, which meant we couldn't get any points. Then we dropped to last, which was 10th. So 10 teams in the final. By the end of it, we came 10th. I feel like I left it in a reasonably good place, but yeah, it was just difficult to get any points after that. Okay, so after the final day, we all went to this place called the Hangout, which was basically pool tables, bar, escape rooms, bowling. So that was really fun. And then this is the morning where I went home. So just to show you kind of the place we were staying in, there's horses everywhere. It was quite nice. And then once we were woken up and refreshed, just went to get my flight home and walked around Amsterdam for a couple of hours before my flight and saw a couple of sights and had a pizza. So that was it. Anyway, now for my quick review of the whole event. So I really liked that we had a second live event other than Vegas. In terms of location, the arena was okay, but it was kind of in the middle of nowhere. So there wasn't any real shops nearby. The food in the arena wasn't great. Annoyingly, like if you bought a bottle of water, it came in a glass bottle, which you weren't allowed to take away from the bar. So they would pour it into a plastic cup. So you couldn't kind of put a lid on a bottle of water and use it throughout the day. You had to keep buying it, which was like €3 or something. And yeah, the food wasn't great, so it'd be nice to have an arena that's a bit more central with some shops around it. I really hope the event continues and like in future years they rotate different cities if they can find suitable venues at a decent cost, because that would be quite exciting to visit different places. The turnout wasn't as good as I'd have hoped for. Vegas was pretty huge. I guess it's quite a big ask to pay for 2 big events in the year with travel, and the prize money is much less here than Vegas, which is fine, it's to be expected. I mean, these live events probably cost a lot of money. Then in terms of event formats, I love that they mixed up some new events. I like the Mega Elimination. I really love the concept. It's exciting to see people go out every 30 seconds. The case, I would prefer something a bit more normal, because 140 individual questions with different formulas, like for a whole hour, I lasted about 55 minutes, and by the end of it my brain was just kind of fried before the other events. Then on teams, I thought the cases for that were really well designed, because it split up nicely and needed teamwork for the last question. It would have been nice to have a slightly lower difficulty curve on question 2. Most people couldn't get question 2, which meant they couldn't get 7, and 7 was the real one where you needed to come together as a team and communicate and share formulas and so on. So it'd be nice to design a case, and this will be quite hard, where you know that people will get to that team sharing bit. Then in the relay, I really liked the handovers. 2 minutes to talk to your partner, try and share the work. I think that looked really good on screen as well. So I'd like to see that come back in another event. And in the qualification round, although I went out and it was a tricky case, and I think it was overlooked that the different fonts changed the gaps in the symbols, so you'll get the question wrong. I think it was still good that they tried something new, and the cases that I fail or are difficult, I kind of learn the most from. So now I know that different fonts will change symbols. I know how to look up exact things. I know how to do kind of an exact unique formula and so on and so on. So those are good learning experiences, even though it's painful I went out. When I got home, I did try the semi-finals under like time conditions, and I would have actually scored enough points to go in the final. Now, on stage, would I have done that well? Maybe not. The pressure's different, and in home, I'm in my nice, comfortable environment with, you know, my own keyboard and everything else. But I do feel like I have the skill to be at least in a semi-final, maybe even a final one day. So hopefully I can do that in Vegas this year. Who knows? So yeah, a bit of a different video, but I hope you enjoyed this kind of vlog-style Excel video, and I'll see you next time.